in the icy shadow of a Russian noble's estate, where the whip's crack echoes over snow-dusted fields, a serf toils from dawn to dusk, bound to the land, yet dreaming of freedom. Step into their world, where every labor shapes an empire's grandeur, and discover the untold stories of resilience that pulse beneath Tsarist Russia's opulent surface. What it was like to be a servant in ancient Rome. Asterisk, asterisk, imagine yourself, if you will, standing on a dusty auction block in the bustling port city of Ephesus, the salty breeze from the Aegean Sea mingling with the clamor of merchants and buyers. It is the height of the Roman Empire, perhaps during the reign of Augustus or Trajan, when Rome's vast territories stretched from the misty shores of Britannia to the sun-baked sands of Egypt. You are not a free citizen, born to the privileges of the toga or the forum debates. No, you are a Cerveza slave, one of the millions who formed the invisible backbone of Roman society, captured in war, born into bondage, or sold by indebted parents. Your path to this moment was one of quiet inevitability, a thread in the grand tapestry of empire that few paused to notice. In ancient Rome, servants like you were overwhelmingly slaves, regarded not as individuals with dreams or histories, but as property race mancipi things to be owned and traded. The law was clear. You belonged to your dominus, your master, who held the power of life and death over you. Yet, within this rigid framework, life unfolded in shades of gray, shaped by the whims of fortune and the character of your owner. If you were fortunate, you might end up in an urban household in Rome itself, rather than chained to the brutal rhythms of a rural latifundium or the suffocating darkness of a mine. Let us linger here on the details of such a life, for it is in the mundane, the repetitive tasks, the small adaptations, that the true resilience of the human spirit emerges. Your day begins before dawn. As the first hints of light creep over the 7 hills, in a modest domus, on the Aventin or a sprawling villa suburbana, you rise from your straw pallet in the cramped cubicula reserved for slaves, perhaps shared with a dozen others. The air is thick with the smells of olive oil lamps and yesterday's bread. Your clothing is simple, a rough woolen tunic belted at the waist, and perhaps leather sandals if your master is generous. No toga, for youth that symbol of citizenship is forbidden. Instead, you might wear a fibula pin or a simple necklace, a quiet assertion of identity amid uniformity. First tasks revolve around the hearth, the heart of the Roman home. As a culinarius or kitchen slave, you stoke the fire in the culinar, grinding spelt or barley into flour with a hand mill, the rhythmic grind echoing like a metronome through the pre-dawn quiet. Water must be fetched from the nearest fountain, carried in heavy amphorae, balanced on your shoulder, a chore that builds calluses and strains muscles over years. Breakfast for the familia is prepared. Pulse, a porridge of grains seasoned with salt or herbs, perhaps augmented with olives or figs from the market. If your household is wealthier, you might handle more exotic fare, like dormice fattened in jars or garum, that pungent fish sauce fermented in the sun. As the sun rises, the house awakens. You assist the domina, your mistress, in her morning ablutions, pouring water from a ewer into a basin, combing her hair with ivory pins imported from afar, or applying cosmetics from lead-based powders that you know from whispered tales can poison over time. Children of the house, if present, fall under your watchful eye, as a pedagogus, if educated, or simply a nursemaid. You teach basic letters or ensure they don't wander into the bustling atrium. Education among slaves varies. Some, like you perhaps, if captured from Greece, bring skills in reading or arithmetic, elevating your status to that of a secretary or accountant. These skilled slaves fetch higher prices at market up to 50 times that of a field laborer and might even manage the household finances. Poring over wax tablets under the dim light of a lucerna, midday brings the prondium, a light lunch, where you serve at table, anticipating needs with a practiced eye, refilling wine cups diluted with water, clearing plates of cheese. The siesta follows, a brief respite for the free, but for you, it's time for cleaning sweeping mosaic floors with brooms of bundled twigs, polishing silverware with ash, or laundering linens in fuller's urine vats down the street. Interactions with your master are formal eyes downcast, responses curt. A kind dominus might offer scraps from the table or allow you to save peculium, a small allowance toward eventual freedom. But cruelty lurks. A misplaced item could earn lashes from a flagellum, or worse, an iron collar inscribed with "Return me to my master if you dared flee." Yet amid this drudgery, small acts of humanity persist. You form bonds with fellow slaves, meals in the servants' quarters, stories exchanged in hushed tones about homelands lost. Festivals like Saturnalia offer inversion. For a day, you might wear the pileous cap of freedom, serving your master in jest. Such moments highlight the empire's paradoxes. Rome built on conquest, yet sustained by the labor of the conquered. As evening falls and you prepare the cena, the main meal, with roasted meats and vegetables, you reflect on the day's quiet endurance. But what if tomorrow brings change, a new owner, a chance at manumission, or the stirrings of unrest among your kind? As the sun dips below the horizon, painting the Roman sky with hues of amber and crimson, you find yourself in the Colina, preparing the cena for your master's household. The air is heavy with the aroma of roasted boar, seasoned with cumin and coriander, and the faint tang of garum lingering from the amphorae stacked in the corner. You move with practiced efficiency, arranging platters for the triclinium, where your dominus reclines with guests, their laughter echoing through the atrium. Your role as a servant in this ancient city is not just to labor, but to anticipate, to be invisible yet indispensable. Every gesture, every task, is a thread in the intricate web of Roman domestic life, where the line between survival and punishment is as thin as a spider's silk. Life as a service is dictated by the household's rhythm, which pulses with the status and wealth of your master. If you serve in a grand villa, your days are filled with specialized tasks. Perhaps you are a nomenclator, memorizing the names of your master's clients for morning salutations, or an ornatrix, skilled in crafting elaborate hairstyles for the domina, weaving gold threads into her curls. In a more modest domus, your duties are broader: cleaning, cooking, and tending to the family's needs, with little distinction between roles. The tools of your trade are simple: a bronze strigil for scraping sweat and oil from bathers, a clay lamp to light your way through darkened corridors, or a wooden tablet for recording household expenses. These objects, worn by years of use, are as much a part of you as your own calloused hands. Yet, the weight of servitude is not just physical. The law binds you tightly. Your body, your time, even your children belong to your master. A child, born to you, a serva, is verni, a homeborn slave, destined to inherit your chains, unless fortune intervenes. Manumission, the dream of freedom, dangles like a distant star. Some slaves, particularly those with skills like accounting or teaching, might save enough peculium to buy their liberty, or earn it through loyalty. A freedman's life beckons, but it is not without strings. Liberty remain tied to their former masters as clients, obligated to serve in new ways. You hear tales of freedmen rising to wealth, like the fictional Trimalchio, but such stories are rare, glittering exceptions in a sea of toil. The household is a microcosm of Rome's hierarchy. You navigate it carefully, aware of the power dynamics. The villicus, the overseer slave, wields authority over you. His favor, curried with extra portions of bread or a shared sip of pasca, the sour wine of the lower classes. Fellow slaves are both allies, and rivals' trust is hard won when survival depends on the master's mood. Punishments are a constant threat. A broken dish might earn a beating. A perceived slight could lead to branding or worse. The ergast, a grim cell for disobedient slaves, looms in whispered warnings. Yet, kindness exists in small Axa Domina, who shares a worn cloak, a fellow slave who covers your mistake. Festivals like Saturnalia offer fleeting reprieve where roles reverse, and you might jest with your master, wearing the pileous cap of a freedman. These moments of levity are tempered by reality. Rebellion, like that of Spartacus a century ago, is a distant memory, crushed by Rome's iron fist. Still, you hear murmurs of unrest. Slaves in neighboring households speak of secret gatherings, of dreams, of flight. As you clear the Sena's remnants, you wonder, could such whispers take root, or are they mere shadows cast by flickering lamps? As the stars emerge over Rome, you stand in the dim culina, scrubbing the last of the Senna dishes with a rag dampened in cold water. The household sleeps, save for the faint snoring of the dominus drifting from the cubiculum. Your day, like countless others, is a tapestry of small, repetitive acts, fetching, cleaning, serving, that vanish into the rhythm of the empire's heartbeat. Yet, tonight, as you stack the cleaned plates, your mind wanders to the broader currents of your existence. You are a service, a cog in Rome's vast machine, but your life, however invisible, ripples through the ages in ways even the grandest senator might not foresee. The climax of your story is not one of rebellion or dramatic escape, as tales of Spartacus might suggest. Instead, it lies in the quiet endurance that defines your days. Survival in this world demands resilience, a knack for reading the moods of your master and the needs of the household. You've learned to anticipate the dominus' preferences for her morning meal, to sense when the villicus is in a foul temper, to share a knowing glance with a fellow slave when a guest overstays their welcome. These small acts of cunning and camaraderie are your rebellion, your way of carving out agency within the confines of servitude. Some slaves, you know, achieve more tangible victories. Manumission. Perhaps you've saved enough peculium, those precious coins earned from tips or side tasks, to approach your master with an offer. Freedom, if granted, comes with a ceremony, a slap on the cheek, a declaration before witnesses, and the donning of the pileus cap. But even as a libertus, you'd remain tethered to your former master, bound by patronage, a reminder that true autonomy is rare. The outcomes of your life depend on chance and circumstance. A kind master might grant you freedom in their will, as some do, leaving you to navigate Rome as a freedman, perhaps running a small shop, selling olives, or repairing sandals. Others, less fortunate, face a bleaker fate, sold to a harsher household, sent to the mines, or simply worked to exhaustion. The law offers little protection. The 12 tables declare you property, and the whip enforces it. Yet, in the margins, you find meaning. You teach a younger slave to read, passing on fragments of Greek poetry you learned in a distant homeland. You share stories of gods and heroes during Saturnalia, keeping alive traditions Rome cannot erase. These acts, though small, are your legacy, threads woven into the fabric of a city that thrives on your labor, reflecting on your place in history. You realize the empire's grandeur, its aqueducts, its Colosseum. Its legions rests on the shoulders of millions like you. The grain that feeds Rome's citizens, the wine that fills their cups, the roads that carry their armies, all are sustained by the toil of slaves. Your story, though unrecorded, shapes the world. Today, we see echoes of this in the unsung labor that underpins modern societies, those who clean, build, and serve, often unnoticed. Your resilience, your quiet defiance, reminds us that history is not only the domain of emperors, but of those who, in the shadows, keep the world turning. As you extinguish the last lamp, what legacy might your small acts of endurance leave for a future you'll never see? The daily toil of a serf in medieval Europe. Picture yourself, if you will, waking to the distant toll of a church bell in a small village nestled in the rolling fields of 12th century England, perhaps during the reign of Henry II. The year is around 1150, and the air carries the damp chill of early spring, mingling with the scent of freshly turned earth and woods. You are a serf, neither fully free nor wholly enslaved, tethered to the manor of your lord by bonds of custom and obligation. Your life is one of toil, shaped by the seasons and the demands of the land, a quiet cog in the feudal machine that sustains medieval Europe. Your story, though seldom told, is the backbone of a world where kings and knights claim glory, but it is your labor that feeds them. As a serf, you are bound to the manor, a sprawling estate centered on the lord's stone-walled hall, surrounded by fields, meadows, and a cluster of thatched huts where you and your fellow villagers live. Your status is hereditary, passed down like the worn wooden plow you wield. Unlike a slave, you cannot be sold away from the land, but freedom is a distant dream. You need your lord's permission to marry, move, or even grind your grain at a mill not owned by the manor. In return for protection and the right to work, a strip of land, you owe the lord labor, a portion of your crops, and taxes in kind, like eggs or a fattened goose. At michaelmas. Your day begins at dawn. As roosters crow and the first light filters through the wattleland daub walls of your one-room home, you rise from a straw mattress shared with your family, the floor beneath you packed earth, cold underfoot. Your clothing is simple: a coarse linen tunic, leggings, and a woolen cloak patched from years of use. Breakfast is a quick affair: pottage, a thick stew of barley, onions, and whatever herbs grow wild, cooked over a small hearth. Your children, if old enough, join you in the fields. If not, they stay with your wife, who tends the garden plot or spins wool with a drop spindle. The manor's fields stretch before you, divided into long strips under the open field system. Your task today, as spring planting begins, is plowing. You guide a team of oxen, their breath steaming in the morning air, dragging a heavy wooden plow through the stubborn clay soil. The work is back-breaking, your hands blistered from gripping the plow's handles, your boots caked with mud. Other serfs labor nearby, sowing barley or oats, their voices carrying folk songs to lighten the load. You owe the Lord 3 days of week work, laboring on his domain, the land he keeps for himself, before you can tend your own strips. Failure to meet these obligations could mean a fine or a day in the stocks, a public humiliation in the village square. Life is not without community. The manor is a web of interdependence. Your neighbor might share a plow horse or help repair your roof after a storm. The church, with its rough-hewn cross, offers solace, its priest reminding you of divine order even as he collects tithes. Yet, whispers of discontent ripple through the village. Some speak of fleeing to a town where a year and a day might grant freedom. As you pause to wipe sweat from your brow, you wonder, could such a dream take root, or is the land's grip too strong? The sun climbs higher over the manor, casting long shadows across the furrowed fields where you, a serf, continue your labor. It's midday now, and the plow rests briefly as you join your fellow villagers for a meal under an oak's sprawling branches. You share coarse rye bread, a wedge of cheese traded for eggs, and a sip of weak ale brewed from last year's barley. The moment of rest is fleeting, for the manor's demands never cease. Your life, bound to the land, is a cycle of duties, some to the Lord, some to your family, and some to the church, each pulling at the fragile threads of your time and energy. Your obligations are many and unyielding. Beyond the week work on the Lord's domain, you face boon work during peak seasons, extra days of labor for planting or harvesting, when the entire village turns out to ensure the crops are sown or gathered before rain or frost. Today, after plowing, you're called to repair a fence around the Lord's meadow, hauling stones to mend gaps where sheep might stray. The manor's bailiff, a stern figure with a waxed tablet, notes your work, his eyes sharp for any sign of slacking. Fines loom for tardiness or poor effort, payable in grain or livestock, which could leave your family hungry come winter. Your own land, a few strips in the common fields, demands attention to all. These patches, perhaps an acre in total, are your lifeline, yielding barley, peas, or cabbages to feed your family. Crop rotation, a recent innovation, means you plant beans to enrich the soil, but the yield is never certain. Blight or drought could spell ruin. You work these strips in the evenings, after the Lord's tasks, your children scattering seeds or pulling weeds. Your wife tends a small garden by your hut, growing leeks and herbs, while also spinning wool for the Lord's cloth tax. Every resource is stretched thin, every moment accounted for. The village is your world, its rhythms shaped by custom and necessity. You barter with neighbors a basket of turnips for a repaired sickle or share tools. Like the communal bakehouse where bread is baked weekly to avoid the Lord's oven tax. Festivals punctuate the year. At Lammas, you offer a loaf from the first harvest to the church. At Christmas, you might receive a rare gift of meat from the Lord's table. But these moments of joy are tempered by hierarchy. The Lord's reeve, often a serf himself, enforces order, reporting to the bailiff. Disputes over land or labor are settled at the manor court, where your voice carries little weight against the Lord's. Yet, beneath this order, tensions simmer. You hear tales of serfs who fled to growing towns like York or London, seeking freedom under the rule that a year and a day in a town makes one free. The risk is great capture, means punishment, perhaps branding, or worse. Closer to home, some grumble about the tithe, a tenth of your crops to the church, or the merchet, a fee to marry your daughter. As you mend the fence, a neighbor whispers of a peddler's tale, a distant village where serfs refuse the Lord's demands. Could such defiance spread, or would it bring the weight of the manor crashing down? As dusk settles over the manor, the fields glow faintly under a crescent moon. You stand at the edge of your strip of land, hoe in hand, the day's labor etched into your aching muscles. The village is quiet now, save for the crackle of hearths and the occasional bark of a dog. Your life as a serf, though bound by the land's unyielding demands, has reached a kind of resolution, not in grand gestures, but in the stubborn persistence that defines your days. The harvest is near, and with it, the hope of enough grain to see your family through winter. Yet, the manor's shadow looms, a reminder that your toil serves more than just your own hearth. The climax of your story lies in survival, a quiet triumph over the uncertainties of weather, hunger, and the Lord's whims. Harvest season is upon you, and the village hums with urgency. You swing a scythe alongside neighbors, cutting barley under the reeve's watchful eye, your hands blistered but steady. The Lord claims his share, first a third, or more of your crop, followed by the church's tithe. What remains must be threshed, winnowed, and stored in your hut's meager loft, safe from damp or rats. A good harvest means pottage thickened with peas, perhaps even a chicken for Christmas. A poor one could force you to borrow from the Lord, deepening your debt and tying you tighter to the manor. Your resilience shines in small acts. You teach your son to carve a new plow handle, passing down knowledge as your father did. You share a surplus onion with a neighbor whose crop failed, knowing they'll repay the kindness. Community is your strength, but it's fragile disease, like the pestilence rumored in distant lands, could sweep through, leaving empty huts. Freedom, too, remains elusive. Flight to a town is a gamble few survive, and manumission is rarer. Still, requiring a lord's unlikely generosity or a sum you'll never save, most serfs, like you, endure. Finding meaning in the land's cycles and the bonds of family, the manor's legacy is your legacy. Your labor feeds not just your village, but the knights who fight, the monks who pray, the towns that grow. Without serfs, the castles and cathedrals of medieval Europe would crumble. Your story, unrecorded in chronicles, lives in the soil you turn, the bread you bake, the children you raise. Today, we see your echo in those who work, unseen farmers, laborers, caregivers whose efforts underpin society. Your life, though constrained, speaks to the human capacity to endure, to find dignity in duty. As you bank the fire for the night, you wonder, will future generations know the weight of your toil, or will the land alone remember? Behind closed doors, a housemaid's routine in Victorian England. Imagine yourself, dear listener, waking in the pre-dawn chill of a London townhouse in 1875. During the height of Queen Victoria's reign, the city hums faintly beyond the walls. With the clatter of horse-drawn cabs and the cries of early street vendors, you are a housemaid, one of countless young women who keep the grand homes of England's middle and upper classes gleaming. Your life is one of relentless routine, your hands perpetually busy, your presence meant to be felt but not seen. In an era of rigid class distinctions, your labor upholds the facade of gentility. Yet your story, though rarely told, is woven into the fabric of Victorian society. You rise at 5, stirring from a narrow bed in the attic, where the slanted ceiling presses close and the air is sharp with cold. The servants' quarters are sparse, a thin mattress, a chipped wash basin, and a single peg for your clothes. You dress quickly in a black woolen gown, a crisp white apron, and a cap that tucks away your hair, signaling your role. Breakfast is hasty porridge, or bread with a smear of dripping, eaten in the basement kitchen with other servants, the cook, the footman, perhaps a scullery maid, the housekeeper, a stern figure with keys jangling at her waist, assigns your tasks. Her tone clipped and expectant, your morning begins with the grates. You kneel before the drawing room fireplace, brushing away last night's ashes, blackening the grate with lead polish, and laying kindling for a new fire. Your hands, already rough from lye soap, grow soot-stained, and the work is backbreaking. But a cold hearth would shame the household. Next, you sweep the carpets with a stiff brush, moving furniture with care to avoid scratches. The mistress's prized mahogany table must gleam, so you polish it with beeswax, your reflection distorted in its shine. Upstairs, you make beds, shaking out linens and plumping pillows, ensuring no crease betrays your work. The household depends on your invisibility. You use the back stairs, narrow and unlit, to avoid crossing paths with the family. If the master or mistress appears, you curtsy and avert your eyes, a silent acknowledgement of your place. Your wage, perhaps £12 a year, paid quarterly, is meager, but it's a lifeline, often sent to support family in a distant village. Many housemaids like you are young, barely past 16, drawn from rural poverty to urban service. Some, you've heard, rise to parlor maid or even housekeeper, but most remain in the ranks. Their youth spent on endless tasks, the day stretches long, with moments of camaraderie in the servants' hall, shared tea, or a whispered jest about the butler's pompous gait. But the work is unforgiving. You haul coal buckets, scrub floors with vinegar, and clean windows with crumpled newspapers, all before the family's luncheon. The bell board in the kitchen jangles constantly, summoning you to fetch, carry, or clean. As you pause to catch your breath, a rumor reaches you. A maid in a neighboring house was dismissed for breaking a china plate. Could such a misstep append your own precarious existence? The clock in the hall chimes noon, and you, a housemaid in a Victorian townhouse, are summoned by the shrill ring of the bellboard. The London air outside carries the scent of coal smoke and horse manure. But within these walls, your world is one of polished surfaces and unspoken rules. You finished the morning's heavy tasks, grates cleaned, floors swept, beds made, but the day's demands are far from over. Your role is to keep the household running smoothly, a silent engine fueling the comfort of the family upstairs. Every task, from dusting the ormolu clock to refilling the mistress's rose water bottle, is a testament to your endurance in a society that thrives on your labor, yet barely acknowledges your presence. Your afternoon is a whirlwind of precision. You serve luncheon in the dining room, carrying trays of cold meats, pickles, and blancmange from the kitchen. As a lower housemaid, you don't wait at table, that's the footman's job, but you ensure the silver is spotless, polished with a soft cloth and a paste of chalk and spirit. You move swiftly, avoiding the family's gaze, your steps muffled on the Wilton carpet. Afterward, you clear the table, scraping leftovers into a pail for the scullery maid to deal with. The mistress might host an at-home this afternoon, receiving callers in the drawing room, so you dust the gilt-framed portraits and arrange fresh flowers in porcelain vases, their scent a brief reprieve from the tang of polish. The hierarchy among servants is as rigid as that above stairs. The housekeeper, Mrs. Baxter, rules with an iron hand, inspecting your work for the slightest flaw. Smudge on a mirror could earn a sharp rebuke. The cook, meanwhile, might slip you a burnt scone as a kindness, but the butler, with his starched collar, rarely speaks to you, a mere housemaid. Your life is governed by rules. No speaking unless spoken to, no sitting in the presence of superiors, no leaving the house without permission. Sundays offer a half-day off, perhaps to attend church or visit a sister in service nearby. But even then, you're expected back by dusk. Your existence is precarious. A single mistakes, peeling lamp oil, or breaking a teacup could lead to dismissal without a reference, casting you into the uncertainty of London's streets. You've heard of girls who turned to factory work, or worse, the workhouse, their dreams of saving for a better life dashed. Yet there are glimmers of hope. Some maids save their wages, dreaming of a shop or a husband. Others find solace in small rebellions, whispered gossip in the laundry room, a hidden novel read by candlelight. You've even heard of a maid who joined a servants' mutual aid society, pooling pennies for emergencies as you scrub the back stairs. The wood worn smooth by years of boots. You overhear the footman mention a new law bill to limit working hours, though it's unlikely to reach servants like you. The idea lingers, a spark in the monotony. Could such changes ripple through the rigid world of service, or will the bells keep ringing, tying you to this life? Night has fallen over the London townhouse, and you, a housemaid, are finishing your final tasks by the flickering light of a tallow candle. The family has retired, their voices hushed behind closed doors, leaving you to lock up the drawing room and bank the kitchen fire. Your hands, chapped from hours of scrubbing, tremble slightly as you fold the last of the day's linens. The life of a Victorian housemaid is one of quiet endurance. Your labor, the unseen foundation of the household's elegance. As you climb the narrow attic stairs to your bed, you reflect on the culmination of your daily Grinda story, not of dramatic upheaval, but of steadfast resilience in a world that demands your invisibility. Your triumph lies in persistence. Each day you navigate the delicate balance of duty and survival, avoiding the pitfalls that could end your tenure. A spilled tray or a harsh word to the housekeeper could mean dismissal. Yet you've honed the art of precision polishing brass until it gleams, folding napkins into perfect squares, anticipating the mistress's call before the bell rings. Some maids, rise through the ranks. A housemaid might become a lady's maid, dressing the mistress in silks, or even a housekeeper commanding the staff. For most, though, the path is static, a lifetime of service with little to show, but a few saved shillings and a worn body. Your own dream, perhaps a small cottage back in your village, feels distant, but each coin tucked away brings it closer. The outcomes of your life are shaped by chance and grit. A kind mistress might gift you a cast-off dress or a reference. Upon leaving, opening doors to better positions. A cruel one could dismiss you for a minor fault, leaving you to face the workhouse or worse. Yet, community sustains you. In the servants' hall, you share stories with the scullery maid, laughing over the footman's clumsy flirtations. You join others in singing hymns on Sunday, finding solace in faith or friendship. These bonds, forged in stolen moments, are your rebellion against the isolation of service. Your work, though uncelebrated, is the bedrock of Victorian society. The gleaming homes, the lavish dinners, the social rituals of the Elitol rest on the labor of housemaids like you. Your story echoes in the millions of domestic workers who kept England's households running. Their names absent from history books, but etched in the polish of every banister. Today, we see your legacy in those who labor behind the scenes, cleaners, caregivers, the unseen hands of progress. Your resilience speaks to the dignity found in duty, the strength to carry on when unnoticed. As you blow out your candle, sinking into the thin mattress, you wonder, will the world ever pause to honor the quiet hands that shaped it? Servants in the shadow of the Pharaohs, life in ancient Egypt. Step into the sun-baked world of ancient Egypt. Dear listener, around 1400 BCE, during the reign of Amenhotep III, when the new kingdom's wealth and power gleam along the Nile's fertile banks, you are a servant, one of the countless HM.W slaves or laborers who sustain the grandeur of Thebes, the bustling capital. Your life is tethered to the river's cycles, to the needs of a noble household or temple, and to a society where divine order dictates every task. Your toil, though unrecorded in the grand reliefs of pharaohs, is the pulse that keeps Egypt's civilization thriving. A quiet thread in a tapestry of gods and kings. As a servant, you might be a captive from a distant land like Nubia or Canaan, taken in war, or a local born into debt or servitude. Unlike the chattel slavery of later eras, your status is fluid. Some servants gain freedom through loyalty or labor, but most remain bound, their lives owned by a noble, a priest, or the pharaoh himself. You live in a mud-brick house in a worker's village near Thebes, its walls plastered white to deflect the relentless sun. Your home is simple: a reed mat for sleeping, a clay jar for water, and a small shrine to Base, the household god who guards against evil. Your day begins before dawn, as the Nile's cool breath carries the scent of lotus and papyrus. You dress in a linen kilt, threadbare but clean, and step into the dim streets where others head to fields or workshops. If you serve a noble's estate, your morning is spent fetching water from the river, carried in heavy jars, balanced on your head. The Nile is life sits annual flood deposits, rich silt, but also demands your labor to maintain irrigation canals. You might work in the kitchen, grinding emmer wheat on a stone quern, your hands aching as you shape dough into flatbreads baked on a clay hearth. For a wealthier household, you prepare offerings for the gods' dates, figs, or even beer brewed from barley. If assigned to a temple like that of Amun-Ra, your tasks are sacred. You sweep the stone floors of the hypostyle hall, careful not to disturb the priest's rituals, or carry baskets of incense to the altar. Your labor is an act of piety, but the priest's stern gazes remind you of your place. Skilled servants, perhaps literate in hieratic script, record grain tallies on papyrus, their work vital to the temple's wealth. Less fortunate are those sent to the fields, harvesting flax under the overseer's whip, the sun scorching your back. Community binds you to others. You share meals of bread and onions with fellow servants, trading stories of distant homes or gossip about the masters. Latest feast. Festivals, like the beautiful Feast of Opet, offer rare joy music, dancing, and extra rations of beer. Yet the overseer's shadow looms, and tales of harsh punishments for laziness linger. As you knead dough under the stars, a whisper reaches you. A servant in a nearby estate fled to join a desert nomad band. Could such a path offer escape, or is the Nile's embrace too strong? The sun climbs high over Thebes, its heat rippling across the Nile's shimmering surface. And you, a servant in ancient Egypt, pause briefly to wipe sweat from your brow. The day's labor presses on, whether in the sprawling estate of a noble or the sacred precincts of Amun-Ra's temple. Your existence is woven into the fabric of Matejep's divine order where every task, from sweeping a courtyard to harvesting barley, upholds the balance that keeps chaos at bay. Your hands, roughened by years of toil, are part of a system that reveres pharaohs as gods but depends on the unseen labor of those like you. Your duties vary with your master's status. In a noble's household, you might be a weaver, spinning flax into linen under a shaded awning, your fingers deft despite the monotony. The cloth you produce clothes the family or is traded for copper or myrrh, but you see none of the profit. Alternatively, you could be a brewer, stirring vats of barley mash to craft Hecate, the thick beer that sustains both rich and poor. If you serve in a temple, your tasks are more ceremonial, polishing bronze statues of gods or carrying offerings of honey and fowl to the altar. Precision is paramount. A misstep could offend the gods, bringing blame on you. Skilled servants, like those who carve amulets or scribe accounts, hold a fragile prestige. But even they bow to the overseer's authority. Life is a balance of survival and submission. You receive rations, bread, beer, and onions, enough to sustain you. Though hunger gnaws in lean years when the Nile's flood is weak, your mud-brick home, shared with family or fellow workers, offers little comfort, its red roof leaking in rare rains. Yet community is your refuge. You trade gossip with a laundress as you scrub linen in the river, or join a chant during the harvest, voices rising to honor Hapi, the Nile's spirit. The overseer, often a freed servant, watches closely. His shtick, ready to correct idleness. Punishments are swift extra labor or reduced rations, but rare kindnesses, like a priest sharing surplus dates, linger in memory. Freedom is a distant hope. Some servants, through exceptional service or a master's whim, are released, becoming peasants with small land grants. Others remain bound, their children inheriting their status. You hear of Corvée Labura, like the temples at Karnak, where conditions are harsher, and many never return. Yet, festivals like the Feast of Opet bring fleeting joy, with music, processions, and the chance to glimpse the pharaoh's golden barge. These moments spark dreams of something more, as you carry a basket of pomegranates to the master's storehouse. A rumor spreads. A group of servants in a northern estate refuse to work, demanding better rations. The tale is hushed, for defiance invites retribution. You wonder as you trudge back to your tasks, could such a spark ignite change, or will Matt's order crush it beneath its weight? As twilight cloaks Thebes in a soft purple haze, you, a servant of ancient Egypt, stand at the edge of the Nile, washing the day's dust from your hands. The river's gentle lap against the bank is a quiet counterpoint to the labor that has defined your hours. Your life, bound to the service of a noble household or temple, reaches its quiet climax, not in rebellion or glory, but in the enduring rhythm of survival. The harvest is in, the granaries full, and your small role in this cycle ensures the land's bounty feeds both gods and men. Yet, as you gaze at the stars, you reflect on the legacy of your uncelebrated toil. Your triumph is in perseverance. Each day, you've navigated the demands of Ma'at, balancing duty with the need to protect your family and yourself. You've learned to anticipate the overseer's inspections, to barter a fish for a friend's help repairing your roof, to offer a prayer to Hathor for a sick child. Some servants, you know, achieve more freedom through a master's gratitude, or by saving enough copper deben to buy release. As a freedman, you might farm a small plot or join a trade, but such paths are rare. Most, like you, remain in service, your children destined to carry water or weave linen as you do. Harsh masters might send you to quarry stone in the desert, where heat and exhaustion claim many. Your survival, then, is a quiet victory, etched in every loaf baked, every jar filled. Community is your anchor. You share laughter with a fellow servant over a game of senet carved on a scrap of wood, or join the village in offerings to Osiris during the flood season. These bonds, forged in shared hardship, are your defiance against a system that sees you as a tool. Your work sustains Egypt's grandeur, the temples, the palaces, the grain that fills Pharaoh's storehouses. Without servants like you, the priests could not pray, the nobles could not feast, and the monuments that awe the world would remain unbuilt. Your legacy ripples through time, though no scribe records your name. The linen you wove adorns statues of Ammon. The barley you harvested feeds the artisans who carve eternity into stone. Today, we see your echo in those who labor unseen: farmers, cleaners, builders whose work underpins progress. Your resilience speaks to the human spirit's ability to find purpose in duty, to create meaning in the mundane. As you return to your mud brick home, laying down your reed mat, you wonder, will the Nile carry your story forward, or will it remain a whisper in the reeds? The unseen hands, attendants in the Ottoman Empire. Imagine yourself, dear listener, stepping into the labyrinthine corridors of Topkapi Palace in Istanbul around 1600 CE. During the reign of Sultan Mehmed III, the Ottoman Empire stretches from the Balkans to the Arabian Peninsula, a mosaic of cultures united by the Sultan's rule. You are an attendant, a kul or kuri, serving in the imperial household, where your labor keeps the palace's grandeur alive. Your life is one of silent diligence, your presence vital yet invisible amidst the opulence of silk tapestries and gilded domes. In this world of power and protocol, your story, though uncelebrated, is the heartbeat of the empire's nerve center. As an attendant, you are likely a slave, acquired through war, trade, or the devrim system, which collects Christian boys from conquered lands to serve the Sultan. If you are a kuri, a female servant, you might hail from the Caucasus or Eastern Europe, brought to the harem to serve the Sultan's mother, wives, or concubines. Your status is not fixed. Exceptional service could elevate you to a trusted role, perhaps even freedom, but most remain in servitude, their lives governed by the palace's rigid hierarchy. You live in cramped quarters, a small cell with a straw pallet and a single oil lamp, tucked away in the palace's lower levels or the harem's secluded wings. Your day begins before dawn, as the call to prayer echoes over Istanbul's minarets. You dress in simple garments, loose trousers, and a tunic for men, a long dress and headscarf for women designed for modesty and utility. Breakfast is modest, flatbread olives and watered yogurt, eaten quickly in a communal hall with other attendants. Your tasks depend on your role. As a male kul, you might be a page, polishing the Sultan's ceremonial dagger or carrying messages through the palace's endless courtyards. As a kuri, you might attend the valid Sultan, fetching rosewater for her ablutions or embroidering her veils with gold thread. The palace is a world unto itself, its rhythms dictated by protocol. You clean marble floors with vinegar, ensuring no speck mars the inlaid tiles. You light braziers to warm the divans, meeting rooms, where viziers debate policy or prepare trays of sherbet and lokum for guests. Every task requires precision. A misplaced item could earn a reprimand from the chief eunuch, a formidable figure who oversees the harem or palace staff. Skilled attendants, like those trained in calligraphy or music, hold higher status. Their work adorning imperial decrees or soothing the Sultan's evening's community offers solace amidst the hierarchy. You share stories with fellow attendants, perhaps of a distant village in Serbia or Circassia, over a game of backgammon. Festivals like Eid bring rare treats, baklava or roasted lamb, a chance to glimpse the Sultan's procession. Yet, danger lurks. A false step could lead to banishment or worse. As you fold linens in the harem's quiet corner, you hear whispers of an attendant who vanished after displeasing a concubine. Could such a fate await you? Or might loyalty pave a different path? The midday sun filters through the latticed windows of Topkapi Palace, casting intricate shadows on the tiled floors. You, an attendant, have just swept clean. Istanbul hums beyond the walls, but within your world is one of ceaseless tasks and unspoken rules. As a kul or kuri, your labor ensures the Ottoman court's splendor, from the Sultan's meals to the harem's harmony. Your life is a delicate balance of obedience and ingenuity, navigating a hierarchy where a single misstep could alter your fate. Yet, in the quiet moments between duties, you find ways to carve out meaning in a life not wholly your own. Your role defines your day. If a male cool, you might serve in the Enderune, the palace school, carrying inkpots for young pages, training to become viziers or generals. You polish armor, its steel gleaming under your cloth, or tend the palace gardens, pruning fig trees under the gardener's stern eye. As a Kari in the harem, you might braid the hair of a concubine, weaving pearls into intricate patterns, or prepare a bath with scented oils for the valid sultan. Every task demands perfection. Spilled ink or a torn veil could mean a lashing or reassignment to harsher duties, like scrubbing the hammam's steam-soaked stones. The palace's hierarchy is a labyrinth. The chief eunuch, whether the Kisler Akosk of the harem or the Kapi Akosk of the inner court, wields immense power, their word second only to the sultan's. You learn to read their moods, offering a low bow or a quick task to avoid their wrath. Above you are the favored attendants, musicians, scribes, or the sultan's personal valets, who earn extra rations or a silk sash. Below are the lowliest, like the scullions, who clean the kitchen's greasy pots. Your rations, bread, an occasional mutton, sustain you, but hunger lingers. In years of poor harvests, community is your lifeline. In the servants' quarters, you share tea with a fellow cool, swapping tales of distant homelands or the sultan's latest decree. Karis gather in the harem's courtyard, embroidering together, their laughter muffled to avoid the eunuch's notice. Festivals like the Sugar Feast offer respite, with music and sweets shared among the staff. Yet danger is ever present. A whispered rumor could brand you disloyal. A jealous rival might accuse you of theft. You've heard of attendants exiled to remote provinces, or worse, executed for betraying secrets. Hope persists in small ambitions. Exceptional service might earn manumission, allowing you to marry or start a trade in Istanbul's markets. Some Karis rise to become concubines, even mothers to princes, though such paths are rare and perilous. As you carry a tray of rosewater to the divan, you overhear talk of unrest. Servants in a provincial palace refused orders, demanding better treatment. The news is hushed, for rebellion invites swift punishment. As you return to your tasks, you wonder, could such defiance take root here, or will the palace's golden cage hold fast? As night falls over Topkapi Palace, the glow of oil lamps flickers across the courtyard, and you, an attendant, complete your final tasks. The air carries the faint scent of jasmine from the harem gardens, a contrast to the day's relentless labor. Your life as a cool or Kari is one of quiet endurance, your hands shaping the empire's splendor while your name fades into the shadows. The palace sleeps, but your thoughts linger on the culmination of your daily grind, a story, not of rebellion, but of resilience in a world where your labor is both essential and unseen. Your triumph lies in survival. Each day you've navigated the palace's intricate rules, dodging the chief eunuch's scrutiny and anticipating the needs of those above you. As a Kul, you might have polished the sultan's sword to perfection, earning a nod from the armorer. As a Kari, you've soothed a concubine's temper with a perfectly brewed cup of mint tea, avoiding her ire. Some attendants achieve more through years of loyalty, allowing them to join Istanbul's bustling markets. For most, like you, life remains one of service. Your children, if any, often raised in the palace's shadow, destined for similar roles. The palace is a microcosm of the empire, and your work sustains its heart. You've swept the divan floors, ensuring the vizier's debates proceed without distraction. You've carried trays of pilaf to the sultan's table, your steps silent to avoid notice. These acts, though mundane, enable the empire's grandeur. The treaties signed, the wars planned, the harem's delicate balance maintained. Community anchors you, a shared glance with a fellow Kari during a long night of sewing, or a whispered joke with a kul about the vizier's pompous robes. These bonds, forged in stolen moments, are your quiet rebellion against a system that demands your subservience. Your legacy, though unrecorded, is profound. The silks you folded, the gardens you tended, the letters you carried, these enabled the Ottoman Empire to flourish, its mosques and markets a testament to collective labor. Today, we see your echo in those who work, unseen janitors, aides, caregivers whose efforts uphold society's framework. Your resilience, your ability to find dignity in duty, speaks to the human spirit's quiet strength. As you extinguish your lamp and settle onto your straw mat, you reflect. Will the empire's chronicles ever note the hands that kept its palaces alive? Or will your story remain a whisper in Istanbul's ancient stones? A butler's world, service in Georgian Britain. Step into the polished world of a Georgian country estate in 1780. Dear listener, during the reign of George III, when Britain's wealth flows from trade and empire, you are a butler, the linchpin of a grand household, perhaps in the rolling hills of Kent or the outskirts of Bath. Your role is one of authority and servitude, commanding the staff while answering to the master's every whim. In an age of elegance and excess, your meticulous labor ensures the manor's grandeur. Yet your story, quiet, disciplined, essential, remains hidden behind the mahogany doors of the gentry's world. As butler, you are the head of the male servants, a position earned through years of service or a rare stroke of fortune. Likely in your 30s or older, you began as a footman, learning the rhythms of service before rising to this role. You live in the servants' quarters, a small room near the pantry, furnished with a narrow bed, a writing desk, and a locked chest for your livrea, black coat, white shirt, and breeches pressed to perfection. Your salary, perhaps £30 a year, is substantial for a servant, supplemented by tips from guests or the sale of candle stubs, a quiet perk of your station. Your day begins at 6, as the estate stirs under a gray dawn. You unlock the plate room, counting silver spoons and candlesticks to ensure none are missing. Breakfast for the family, tea, bread, and cold meats is prepared by the cook, but you oversee its presentation, ensuring the china gleams and the tablecloth is spotless. You then inspect the male staff. Footmen's livery must be immaculate, their wigs powdered. The housekeeper, your counterpart among the female servants, handles the maids, but you coordinate with her to keep the household seamless. Your authority is clear, yet you tread carefully. A butler's power depends on the master's trust. The manor's rhythm revolves around you. You decant wine from the cellar, its oak barrels fragrant with claret, and polish the dining room's mahogany table, its surface reflecting your care. You answer the master's summons, perhaps to discuss the day's menu or arrange a carriage. For a guest, your manner is formalized, lowered, responses measured, yet you're privy to the family's secrets. A whispered argument over debts, a daughter's forbidden suitor. Discretion is your creed. A loose tongue could end your career. Community exists among the servants. You share ale with the coachman in the servants' hall, trading tales of the master's eccentricities. But hierarchy rules. Footmen defer to you, and you to the master. Georgian society is rigid, and your place, though elevated among servants, is far below the gentry. As you lock the plate room at noon, you hear a footman mention a butler in a nearby estate dismissed for theft. Could such a scandal threaten your carefully built world? Or is your diligence armor enough? The afternoon sun bathes the Georgian manor in golden light, and you, the butler, move through its halls with measured steps, ensuring every detail aligns with the master's expectations. The year is 1780, and the estate hums with preparations for a dinner party, a showcase of the family's wealth and status. Your role is to orchestrate this display, from the gleam of the silver to the timing of each course. Your life is a delicate balance of authority and deference, your hands steadying the household's rhythm while your presence remains unobtrusive. In this world of powdered wigs and candlelit suppers, your labor is the unseen scaffolding of elegance. Your tasks are meticulous. You supervise the footmen as they set the dining table, ensuring the damask cloth is flawless and the candelabras evenly spaced. You check the wine, decanting a bottle of Madeira with care, its amber hue catching the light. The menu: roast pheasant, syllabub, and stewed apples requires coordination with the cook, whose temper you soothe with a nod. You also manage the guest list, discreetly reminding the master of a visiting squire's preference for port. Your memory is your tool. Forgetting a name or a preference could tarnish the evening and your reputation. The household's hierarchy is your domain, but it's fraught with tension. You reprimand a footman for a stained cuff, your tone firm but fair, knowing resentment could breed carelessness. The housekeeper, your equal in rank, guards her domain jealously, and you navigate her moods to keep peace. Your authority comes with perks: a private room, a share of the master's old clothes, but also burdens. You're the first to rise and last to retire, your day stretching from dawn to midnight. The master trusts you with the keys to the wine cellar and plate room, but this trust is fragile. A missing fork could cast suspicion on you. Servants' quarters offer moments of camaraderie. Over a supper of cold pie and ale, you share a jest with the coachman about a guest's gaudy waistcoat, but gossip is risky. A careless word could reach the housekeeper's ears. You save your wages, dreaming of a small inn or a retirement in a village cottage, though most butlers serve until age or illness claims them. Dismissal looms as a constant threat. Accusations of theft or insolence could end your career, leaving you without a reference in a world where reputation is everything. As you light the dining room candles, their flames dancing in the chandelier, you overhear a footman whisper of a butler in London who joined a servants' club, pooling funds for mutual aid. The idea stirs you: could such a group offer security, or would it provoke the master's wrath? The dinner bell rings, pulling you back to your duties. But the thought lingers, a spark in the routine of your carefully ordered world. Night cloaks the Georgian manor, and you, the butler, stand in the darkened hall, locking the plate room after a successful dinner party. The guests have departed, their carriages rumbling into the night, and the house settles into silence. Your day, stretching from dawn to now, is a testament to your skill. Every glass filled, every course served without flaw. Your life in 1780 Britain is one of disciplined service. Your authority over the staff matched only by your subservience to the master. As you snuff out the last candle, you reflect on the quiet legacy of your labor, a cornerstone of the manor's elegance. Your triumph is in mastery of the mundane. You've orchestrated the evening with precision, anticipating the master's needs before he speaks, calming a flustered footman with a glance, ensuring the mistress's favorite crystal shone under the candlelight. Your success is invisible. No guest praises the butler, yet their comfort depends on you. Some butlers, you know, achieve more. A generous master might grant a pension, or saved wages could buy a modest trade. Most, like you, serve until their knees ache or eyesight dims, their loyalty rewarded with little beyond a roof and respect among peers. The household is your world, its rhythms your creation. You've trained footmen to move silently, taught maids to polish silver without scratching, and mediated disputes between cook and housekeeper. Your legacy is in these details: the gleaming table, the flawless service that enable the family's social ascent. Community sustains you, a shared pipe with the steward, a nod from the housekeeper when a crisis is averted. These bonds, forged in the servants' hall, are your strength against the isolation of your role. Yet, danger lingers. A false accusation of theft or a master's whim could strip you of your position, casting you into a world where butlers rarely find new posts. Your work underpins Georgian society. The manor's splendor, the gentry's balls, the empire's wealth rest on servants like you, whose labor frees the elite to govern and trade. Your story, unwritten in the annals of history, lives in the polished banisters and well-run homes that defined an era. Today, we see your echo in those who manage quietly: organizers, caretakers, the unseen hands of order. Your resilience, your ability to command while serving, speaks to the dignity of duty. As you climb the stairs to your room, you wonder, will the manor's walls whisper of the butlers who kept them standing, or will your legacy fade with the candle's last flicker? Eunuchs and maids, court servants in Imperial China. Imagine yourself, dear listener, within the crimson walls of the Forbidden City in Beijing. Around 1500 CE, during the Ming Dynasty, under Emperor Hongzhi, the empire stretches across vast plains and mountains, its heart pulsing in this palace complex where you serve as a court servant, perhaps a eunuch or a palace maid. Your life is one of silent devotion, your labor upholding the celestial harmony of the Son of Heaven's court. In this world of intricate rituals and rigid hierarchy, your story, though unrecorded, is the quiet force sustaining the emperor's divine mandate. If you are a eunuch, you were likely castrated as a boy, perhaps sold by a desperate family, or captured in a border raid to serve the imperial household. As a palace maid, you might be a young woman from a humble village, selected for your diligence or beauty to serve the empress or concubines. Both roles bind you to the palace, your freedom sacrificed for proximity to power. You live in a dormitory within the palace's inner courts, a cramped room with a Kong bed warmed by coals, a wooden chest for your robes, and a small altar to Guanyan for solace. Your day begins before dawn, as gongs signal the hour of the tiger. You dress in silk robes, blue for eunuchs, plain cotton for maids, designed for modesty and function. Breakfast is simple, congee with pickled vegetables, eaten in a communal hall with other servants. As a eunuch, you might serve in the Imperial household department, managing tribute silks or recording edicts on bamboo slips. As a maid, you attend, a concubine, combing her hair into elaborate knots or fetching jasmine tea. Every task, from sweeping marble floors to lighting incense for rituals, upholds the palace's sacred order. The Forbidden City is a labyrinth of protocol. You move through back corridors, avoiding the emperor's gaze, your steps soft on lacquered wood. Eunuchs wield influence, some rising to manage finances or advise the emperor, but most, like you, perform menial tasks polishing jade ornaments or guarding the harem's gates. Maids face stricter oversight, their work scrutinized by senior matrons. A spilled teapot or a misspoken word could earn a beating or banishment to the laundry, where hands blister in scalding vats. Community offers respite. You share tea with fellow servants, whispering of the emperor's latest poem or a concubine's temper. Festivals, like the Lantern Festival, bring rare joy, with lanterns glowing and extra rice dumplings shared. Yet danger lurks. A jealous eunuch or vindictive matron could accuse you of disloyalty. As you arrange scrolls in the Imperial library, you hear of a maid punished for stealing a hairpin. Could such a misstep shatter your precarious existence, or might loyalty carve a path to favor? The midday sun casts golden light through the latticed screens of the Forbidden City, and you, a court servant tunic or maid, move with practiced care through its labyrinthine halls. It is 1500 CE, and the Ming court hums with the rituals that uphold the emperor's divine mandate. Your role, whether carrying a lacquered tray or guarding a palace gate, is to ensure this harmony, your labor invisible yet essential. Your life is a delicate dance of obedience and cunning, navigating a hierarchy where favor can lift you and a single error can cast you into oblivion. Your tasks are as varied as the palace's needs. As a eunuch, you might serve in the Bureau of Ceremonies, arranging silk cushions for an imperial audience, or cataloging tribute from distant provinces' silks, jade, or tea. Your literacy, if you possess it, sets you apart, allowing you to draft letters or oversee accounts. But most eunuchs sweep courtyards or light braziers, their hands calloused from repetitive work. As a maid, you might tend to a concubine's wardrobe, folding embroidered robes or polishing her phoenix hairpin. You work under the watchful eye of the senior matron, whose sharp tongue corrects any flaw, crooked seam, or a smudged mirror. The palace's hierarchy is unforgiving. Eunuchs, despite their mutilation, can wield power, some rising to become trusted advisors, their influence rivaling ministers. Maids, however, are rarely so fortunate, their lives confined to domestic tasks. You answer to the chief eunuch or matron, whose favor is won with diligence, or small bribes, a shared sweetmeat, or a whispered compliment. Rations sustain you: rice, tofu, and occasional pork, though famine years thin portions. Your dormitory, shared with others, is a place of whispered alliances, where you trade stories of a concubine's scandal or a eunuch's greed. Community is your refuge, Over a game of wakey, you bond with a fellow servant, sharing dreams of a life beyond the palace walls. Festivals, like the Double Ninth, offer rare reprieve, climbing a hill to drink chrysanthemum wine, a brief escape from duty. Yet, danger is ever present. A false accusations, stealing a trinket, or overhearing a forbidden conversation could lead to exile or execution. You've heard of a eunuch sent to the northern frontier for displeasing a prince. His fate, a warning to all. Hope persists in small ambitions. A eunuch might save silver taels, dreaming of buying freedom or a shop in Beijing. A maid might catch a concubine's eye, earning a role as her confidant, though such favor invites jealousy. As you light incense in a quiet hall, you overhear a rumor: servants in a provincial palace petitioned for better rations, a bold act swiftly crushed. The whisper stirs you: could such courage spark change here? Or will the palace's rigid order silence it forever? Night envelops the forbidden city, its red walls glowing faintly under the moon's gaze. And you, a court servant, tunic, or maid, complete your final tasks. The palace is silent, save for the soft tread of guards and the distant chime of a bronze bell. Your life in 1500 CE Ming China is one of quiet endurance. Your labor weaving the intricate tapestry of imperial life. As you fold a silk robe or lock a storeroom, you reflect on the culmination of your daily Grinda story, not of rebellion, but of resilience, in a world where your service upholds the emperor's celestial order. Your triumph is in survival. Each day, you've navigated the palace's labyrinth of rules, anticipating the needs of a concubine or the demands of a ritual. As a eunuch, you've polished jade seals with care, earning a rare nod from a scribe. As a maid, you've arranged lotus flowers perfectly, avoiding the matron's wrath. Some servants rise eunuchs to powerful posts, managing imperial finances, maids to trusted roles, perhaps teaching a prince's daughter. For most, like you, life remains one of toil. Your dreams of freedom, a small plot of land or a shop kept alive by hoarded coins or a master's rare generosity. The palace is your universe, its harmony, your creation. You've ensured the emperor's tea is brewed just so, the harem's linens spotless, the court's rituals flawless. Community sustains you, a shared laugh with a fellow maid over a spilled inkpot, a whispered tale with a eunuch about a minister's folly. These bonds, forged in stolen moments, are your defiance against a system that demands your silence. Yet, danger lingers. A false step could mean banishment to a remote garrison, or worse, a quiet execution in the palace's depths. Your legacy, though unwritten, is profound. The emperor's decrees, the concubine's elegance, the rituals that bind the empire, all rest on your labor. Without servants like you, the forbidden city would falter, its divine order crumbling. Today, we see your echo in those who work: unseen clerks, cleaners, aides whose efforts underpin society. Your resilience, your ability to find purpose in duty, speaks to the human spirit's quiet strength. As you settle onto your Kong bed, the coals fading, you wonder, will the palace's golden roofs whisper of the hands that kept them shining? Or will your story dissolve into the night's embrace? Plantation workers, enslaved lives in colonial America. Picture yourself, dear listener, in the humid dawn of a Virginia plantation in 1750. during the height of colonial America's tobacco boom. The Chesapeake Bay's salty air mixes with the earthy scent of freshly turned soil. You are an enslaved worker, one of thousands forcibly brought from Africa or born into bondage on American soil. Your life is defined by the plantation's relentless demands, your labor fueling the wealth of a colony built on tobacco and servitude. Your story, though rarely told, is the hidden foundation of a burgeoning nation's prosperity. As an enslaved person, you are property stripped of legal rights. Your existence shaped by the will of your master, a planter whose wealth depends on your toil. You might be among the 60% of Virginia's enslaved population working on such estates. Many of African descent, perhaps from the Igbo or Akan peoples, or born here, inheriting your parents' chains. You live in a cramped, dirt-floored cabin, shared with family or fellow workers, its walls of rough-hewn logs, letting in drafts. Your possessions are few: a corn husk mattress, a wooden bowl, and perhaps a carved gourd, a quiet link to ancestral traditions. Your day begins before sunrise as the overseer's horn pierces the stillness. You dress in coarse Osnaburg cloth, shirt and trousers, or a shift already patched from wear. Breakfast is hasty: cornmeal mush, perhaps with a scrap of salted pork, cooked over a small fire. Your work depends on the season. In spring, you prepare fields, breaking soil with a hoe, your hands blistered from the wooden handle. Tobacco is king here. You plant seedlings, each one a promise of profit for the master. The work is grueling, your back bent under the sun. The overseer's whip a constant threat if you pause too long. The plantation is a world of rigid control. You labor from dawn to dusk, 6 days a week. Your tasks set by the overseer, a white man, or occasionally a trusted slave. You might weed fields, repair fences, or tend livestock, each job vital to the plantation's output. Skilled workers, blacksmiths, or carpenters hold slight privilege, but most, like you, are field hands, your value measured in pounds of tobacco. The master's house, with its brick chimneys, looms distant, a reminder of the wealth your labor creates but never touches. Community is your refuge. You share stories with fellow workers, perhaps in whispered tones during a brief rest, recalling tales of Africa or singing spirituals that we've hoped into sorrow. Sundays offer a rare break, a chance to tend a small garden plot or gather for worship, though even this is watched. As you hoe the soil, you hear of a worker who fled north, chasing rumors of freedom. Could such a desperate act light a path to liberty, or would it only tighten the chains? The midday sun beats down on the Virginia plantation, its heat soaking into the tobacco fields where you, an enslaved worker, labor in 1750. The air hums with cicadas and the rhythmic thud of hoes against earth. Your life is a cycle of relentless toil, each task a thread in the fabric of colonial wealth. As you tend the delicate tobacco plants, your hands stained green from their sticky leaves, you navigate a world where survival demands both endurance and cunning. Your story is one of quiet resilience, etched in the sweat and scars of a system that thrives on your subjugation. Your tasks shift with the season's demands. Now, in summer, you weed rows of tobacco, ensuring no pest or drought threatens the crop. The plants, knee-high and fragile, require constant care, removing worms, topping buds to boost leaf growth. You work in a gang, alongside men, women, and even children, moving in unison to the overseer's barked orders. His whip, coiled at his side, is a reminder of the cost of slowness or defiance. Some days, you're sent to the curing barn, hanging tobacco leaves to dry, the air thick with their pungent scent. Skilled tasks, like coopering barrels for export, are reserved for others, leaving you to the field's endless grind. The plantation's hierarchy is brutal. The master, distant in his manner, sets quotas hundreds of pounds of tobacco per worker, while the overseer enforces them, his authority absolute. You're allowed a small garden plot where you grow okra or yams, a taste of home for those born in Africa. Rations, cornmeal, molasses, and occasional fish har, barely enough, and hunger gnaws in lean months. Your cabin offers little comfort, its roof leaking, its single blanket shared among family. Children, if you have them, face the same fate, bound to the plantation from birth. Community is your lifeline. At night, you gather with others, sharing stories of ancestors or singing songs that blend African rhythms with new sorrows. These moments, often hidden from the overseer's gaze, are acts of resistance, preserving identity in a world that seeks to erase it. Sundays might bring a clandestine prayer meeting where a preacher speaks of deliverance, but danger is ever present. Stealing food to ease hunger could mean lashes, talking back, a branding. You've heard of runaways caught and maimed, their stories a warning. Hope flickers in small acts. You carve a wooden spoon, a skill passed down, or save a few coins from selling garden surplus at a local market. Whispers of rebellion stir tales of uprisings in Jamaica, or runaways reaching free states. As you tie tobacco leaves in the barn, a fellow worker speaks of a hidden meeting to plan an escape. Could such a risk bring freedom, or would it only tighten the plantation's grip? Night falls over the Virginia plantation, and you, an enslaved worker, sit by a small fire outside your cabin, its glow casting shadows on the rough log walls. The year is 1750, and the tobacco harvest is nearly done, the air heavy with the crop's bittersweet scent. Your life is a testament to survival, your hands calloused from years of labor that enrich a master you'll never equal. As you stir a pot of cornmeal mush, you reflect on the quiet climax of your daily struggle, not a grand revolt, but the stubborn persistence that keeps you and your community alive. Your triumph lies in enduring the unendurable. Each day, you faced the overseer's whip, met quotas, and protected your family or kin from harsher punishments. You've learned to read the master's moods, to work just fast enough to avoid notice, to hide a stolen yam, to ease a child's hunger. Some enslaved workers achieve small victories. Freedom through manumission is rare, but a skilled artisan might negotiate better conditions or save enough from market sales to buy a loved one's liberty. For most, like you, life is an unbroken chain of labor, your body aging under the strain of fieldwork. Community is your strength. You've shared songs with fellow workers, their melodies carrying memories of Africa or hopes of deliverance. In secret gatherings, you've taught a child to braid cord, passing down skills that affirm your humanity. These acts telling stories of Anansi, tending a garden plotter, quiet rebellions against a system that seeks to strip your identity. The plantation's wealth, its tobacco shipped to London, depends on you, yet your reward is mere survival. Sundays might bring a preacher's words, whispered in a clearing, promising a better world beyond. Your legacy is profound, though unwritten. The tobacco you cultivated built colonial fortunes, fueling trade that shaped a nation. Your labor, and that of millions like you, laid the foundation for America's economy, though at a cost no ledger can capture. Today, your resilience echoes in those who persevere against inequity workers, caregivers, the unseen pillars of society. Your story, carried in spirituals and oral traditions, speaks of a spirit that bends but does not break. As you bank the fire, the stars above offer no answers, but you wonder, will the fields you worked ever speak of the hands that tilled them? Or will your endurance live only in the whispers of those who follow? Asterisk, the kitchen drudges, servants in Renaissance Italy, step into the bustling warmth of a Florentine palazzo in 1520. Dear listener, during the height of the Renaissance, under the Medici's shadow, the city hums with merchants, artists, and the clink of guilders. But you are a kitchen servant, a scullion, or cook's assistant, laboring in the smoky heart of a noble household. Your life is one of sweat and toil, your hands shaping the feasts that fuel Florence's opulence. In this age of art and intrigue, your story's seen amid the frescoed halls, the pulse that keeps the palazzo alive. As a servant, you are likely a local peasant, perhaps a young woman or man from Tuscany's countryside, bound to service by poverty or family debt. Some in your position are slaves, captured from distant lands or purchased through Venetian markets. But most, like you, are free yet tethered by need. You live in a cramped attic or cellar, sharing a straw mattress with other servants, the air heavy with the scent of tallow candles. Your possessions are few: a linen shift, a wooden spoon, and a small charm to ward off the evil eye. A nod to village superstitions, your day begins at dawn as church bells toll across Florence. You dress in a coarse apron and cap, your hands already rough from years of scrubbing. In the kitchen, a cavernous room with a massive hearth, you stoke the fire with olive wood, its crackle mingling with the clatter of pots. Your tasks are endless: grinding spelt for bread, chopping onions for broth, or plucking chickens for the master's table. The cook, a gruff figure with flour-dusted hands, barks orders, and you obey swiftly to avoid a cuff. A grand banquet looms, and you prepare ingredients: saffron, almonds, and costly sugar for dishes like peacock pie or rosewater custard. The palazzo is a world of contrasts. The master's family dines on gilded plates in the Sala Grande, while you eat polenta and lentils in the servants' corner. You use back stairs to avoid the family, your presence meant to be invisible. Yet you glimpse their world: silk gowns, heated debates about Michelangelo's latest work, or whispers of political plots. Your wage, a few soldi monthly, barely covers necessities, but you send scraps home to your village. Skilled servants or stewards might rise, but you, a kitchen drudge, face a lifetime of labor. Community binds you to others. You share wine-soaked bread with a fellow scullion, laughing over the cook's temper. Festivals like San Giovanni's feast bring music and roasted pork, a rare break. But danger lurks: a broken dish could mean docked pay or dismissal. As you stir a simmering pot, you hear of a servant in a rival palazzo accused of poisoning. Could such a scandal touch your kitchen, or will your toil shield you from notice? The midday sun filters through the palazzo's high windows, and you, a kitchen servant in Renaissance Florence of 1520, are elbowed deep in a steaming cauldron, scrubbing it clean with ash and a rag. The kitchen hums with the chaos of banquet preparations, spices ground, dough kneaded, and the cook shouting for more firewood. Your role is to keep this engine of feasting running, your hands raw from labor that fuels the Medici's grandeur. In this world of opulent feasts and hidden intrigues, your life is a balance of endurance and caution. Your toil, the unseen backbone of the household's splendor. Your tasks are relentless. You haul water from the courtyard, well, its weight straining your shoulders to fill pots for boiling capons or soaking beans. You chop herbs, rosemary, sage-grown in the palazzo's garden, their scent a brief respite from the hearth's smoke. For tonight's banquet, you prepare delicate marzipan fruits, your fingers sticky with almond paste, though you'll never taste them. The cook relies on you to fetch ingredients from the market, where you haggle for figs or cinnamon, your few coins carefully counted. Every task demands speed. A delay could spoil the meal, earning you a reprimand or worse. The palazzo's hierarchy is rigid. The steward, a stern man with a ledger, oversees the servants, while the cook rules the kitchen like a petty lord. You, a lowly scullion, answer to both, your deference marked by a bowed head. The master's family is a distant presence, their laughter echoing from the Sala Grande as you scrub pots below. Your rations, bread, cheese, and watered wine are meager, eaten in the kitchen's corner while the family dines on venison and candied quince. Your attic room, shared with others, offers little rest, its walls damp and cold. Community is your solace. You share a jest with a maid over a cracked plate, or swap village tales with a fellow scullion during a rare break. The feast of San Giovanni brings dancing and shared dolce, but even these moments are watched by the steward. Danger is ever present. Stealing a crust could mean a beating. Gossiping about the master's affairs could lead to dismissal. You've heard of a servant in a nearby household jailed for theft. Her fate, a warning to all. Hope flickers in small dreams. Saving a few soldi, you imagine a life beyond the kitchen, perhaps a market stall or marriage to a craftsman. Some servants rise to cook or housekeeper, but such paths are rare for drudges like you. As you carry a tray of roasted quails to the banquet hall, you overhear whispers of unrest. Servants in Venice struck for better wages. Could such boldness reach Florence's kitchens, or will the palazzo's walls smother it? Night cloaks the Florentine palazzo, and you, a kitchen servant, stand by the dying hearth, sweeping ashes as the last banquet dishes are cleared. It is 1520, and the air carries the faint sweetness of spilled wine and roasted herbs. Your day, a marathon of chopping, scrubbing, and serving, has left your hands raw and your body weary. Yet, your labor has ensured the Medici's guests departed satisfied, their plates heaped with delicacies you'll never taste. Your life is a quiet triumph of endurance, your story a hidden thread in the Renaissance's vibrant tapestry. Your victory is in perseverance. Each day you've dodged the cook's temper, anticipated the steward's inspections, and kept the kitchen's chaos at bay. You've learned to stretch rations, hiding a crust for a hungry child, or to barter a turnip for a mended apron. Some servants, through cunning or luck, rise, perhaps, to cook or steward, but most, like you, remain drudges, your future tied to the hearth. Freedom is possible. Saved wages or a master's rare generosity might let you leave service, perhaps, to marry or join a convent. But for now, your world is the kitchen. Its heat and clamor, your constant companions. Community sustains you. You've shared whispered songs with a scullion, their Tuscan lilt echoing village roots, or helped a maid mend a torn shift by candlelight. These bonds, forged in stolen moments, are your rebellion against a system that demands your invisibility. The palazzo's feasts, its frescoes and silks, depend on your labor. Without you, the banquets would falter, the household's shine would dim. Yet your reward is survival, your name absent from the chronicles that praise artists like Leonardo. Your legacy is profound, though unrecorded. The meals you prepared fueled the gatherings where Florence's power was brokered, its art commissioned. Your toil, and that of countless others, underpinned the Renaissance's brilliance, a foundation as vital as any patron's gold. Today, we see your echo in those who labor unseen: cooks, cleaners, the hands that keep society fed. Your resilience, your ability to find dignity in drudgery, speaks to the human spirit's quiet strength. As you bank the fire, its embers glowing, you wonder, will the palazzo's stones whisper of the hands that kept its hearths alight? Or will your story fade with the smoke? Footmen and valets, household staff in 18th century France. Imagine yourself, dear listener, in the grand halls of a Parisian hotel particulier in 1760, during the reign of Louis XV, when France glitters with the opulence of the Ancien Regime. You are a footman or valet, part of the bustling household staff serving a noble family. Your life is one of meticulous service, your hands polishing the mirrors and livery that uphold the aristocracy's splendor. In this age of powdered wigs and gilded salons, your story, though seldom told, is the quiet machinery behind the elegance of 18th century France. As a footman, you are likely a young man from a rural village, drawn to Paris by the promise of wages or prestige. As a valet, you might be older, entrusted with the personal care of the master or his sons, a role demanding trust and discretion. You live in the servants' quarters, a cramped attic with a straw mattress, a wooden stool, and a hook for your livery, a blue coat with silver braid for footmen, plainer attire for valets. Your wage, perhaps 50 livres a year, is modest but vital, often sent to family in the provinces. Your day begins at 6, as the city wakes with the clatter of carriages. You dress quickly, ensuring your livery is spotless, your wig freshly powdered. Breakfast is simple bread, cheese, and watered winneton in the servants' hall, with maids and the coachman. As a footman, you light fires in the salons, carrying heavy coal buckets up narrow stairs. You polish silver candelabras, their gleam reflecting the household's status, or stand at the door, announcing guests with a bow. As a valet, you attend, the master laying out his silk breeches, shaving him with a steady hand, or dressing his wig with poma. The household is a microcosm of Versailles grandeur. You move through back passages to avoid the family, your presence meant to be felt, not seen. The steward oversees your work, his ledger tracking every candle and loaf. A footman's role is visible carrying trays or escorting the mistress's sedan chair, while a valet's is intimate, privy to the master's moods or secrets. Precision is paramount. A smudged glass or a late response to a bell could earn a reprimand or dismissal. Community offers solace. You share a pipe with a fellow footman, joking about the cook's temper, or swap village tales with a maid. Festivals like Bastille Day bring rare treats, roast fowl, or a dance in the courtyard. But danger looms. A misstep could cost your place, leaving you jobless in Paris's crowded streets. As you polish a mirror, you hear of a valet dismissed for overhearing a noble's plot. Could such a scandal touch your carefully ordered world, or will diligence keep you safe? The afternoon sun gilds the salons of the Parisian Hotel Particulier, and you, a footman or valet in 1760 France, move with practiced grace through your tasks. The household prepares for a soiree, a display of the noble family's wealth and influence, and your labor ensures its success. Your life is a delicate balance of visibility and discretion, your hands shaping the elegance that defines the ancien regime. In this world of silk and candlelight, your story is one of quiet precision, your role vital yet unseen amid the whirl of aristocratic life. As a footman, you stand tall in your livery, serving wine or carrying trays of macarons to guests, your movements choreographed to avoid notice. You light chandeliers, their crystals sparkling, or open the heavy oak doors for arriving carriages. As a valet, your work is more intimate, adjusting the master's cravat, brushing his velvet coat, or delivering sealed letters to his study. You memorize his preferences, which snuff box for evening, which scent for his handkerchief. Every task demands perfection. A creased shirt or a late tray could tarnish the household's reputation and your own. The household's hierarchy is rigid. The steward, with his stern gaze, oversees the staff, while the housekeeper manages the maids. As a footman, you answer to both, your role clear but subordinate. Valets, closer to the master, wield subtle influence but risk his wrath. Your rations, bread, mutton, and cider are sufficient, though you dream of the family's delicacies. Your attic room, shared with another servant, is cold, its single window rattling in the wind. Sundays offer a half-day off, perhaps for church or a walk along the Seine, but your back-by-dusk community sustains you. In the servants' hall, you share gossip with a maid about a guest's garish wig, or trade a coin for a mended shoe. Festivals like the Feast of St. Louis bring music and shared tarts, a fleeting escape, but danger is ever presented. Silver spoon could pin blame on you, or a whispered secret could lead to dismissal. You've heard of a footman in a rival household jailed for pilfering his fate, a warning. Hope persists in small ambitions. A valet might save enough to open a tailor's shop. A footman might dream of becoming a steward. As you arrange chairs for the soiree, you overhear talk of a servants' guild forming in Lyon, seeking better wages. The idea sparks curiosity. Could such a movement reach Paris, or would the nobility's power crush it? The bell rings, pulling you back to duty, but the thought lingers, a flicker in your ordered world. Night cloaks the Parisian Hotel Particulier, and you, a footman or valet, lock the salon doors after a glittering soiree in 1760. The candles are snuffed, their wax dripping onto silver holders you'll polish tomorrow. Your day A marathon of serving, bowing, and anticipating has ensured the noble family's guests left dazzled. Your life is one of quiet mastery, your labor upholding the grandeur of France's aristocracy. As you climb the creaking attic stairs, you reflect on the culmination of your toilless story of resilience in a world that thrives on your invisibility. Your triumph lies in flawless execution. As a footman, you've served claret without spilling a drop, your livery immaculate despite hours on your feet. As a valet, you've dressed the master perfectly, his wig powdered to his liking, his secrets kept safe. Some servants rise up. Valet might become a trusted confidant, a footman, a steward, but most, like you, serve until age or dismissal. A generous master might offer a pension or a reference, but many leave with only their savings, dreaming of a small shop or a return to the village. The household is your stage, its elegance your creation. You've ensured the chandeliers gleamed, the tables groaned with delicacies, and the guests felt the family's prestige. Community sustains you, a shared jest with a maid over a broken glass, a quiet prayer with the coachman. These bonds are your defiance against a system that demands your deference. Danger lingers. A misplaced candlestick could spark accusations. An overheard plot could end your career in a city where jobs are scarce. Your legacy, though unchronicled, is vital. The soirees you orchestrated, the comfort you provided, enabled the nobility to navigate the politics of Versailles and Paris. Without servants like you, the Ancien regime's splendor would fade, its salons empty. Today, your echo lives in those who serve quietly: waiters, assistants, the hands behind society's shine. Your resilience, your ability to find dignity in duty, speaks to the strength of those who labor unseen. As you settle onto your straw mattress, the city's hum fading, you wonder, will the gilded halls remember the hands that kept them aglow, or will your story vanish with the dawn? Indentured laborers, servants in early Australian colonies. Imagine yourself, dear listener, stepping onto the rocky shores of Sydney Cove in 1820. During the early decades of Britain's Australian colonies, the air is sharp with eucalyptus and salt, the landscape a mix of rugged bush and fledgling settlement. You are an indentured servant, one of thousands sent to New South Wales, perhaps as a convict or a free laborer bound by contract. Your life is one of toil, your labor carving a colony from the wilderness in this harsh, distant land. Your story, though, rarely sungies the backbone of Australia's nascent society. As an indentured servant, you might be a convict, transported for a crime as minor as stealing bread, sentenced to 7 years of labor. Or you could be a free settler, indentured by poverty to serve a master for a fixed term, often 4 to 7 years. In exchange for passage, you hail from England's crowded cities or Ireland's famine-stricken villages, your past a mix of desperation and hope. You live in a rough timber hut or a shared barracks, its dirt floor damp, your possessions limited to a blanket, a tin mug, and a worn jacket. Your day begins at dawn as the magpie's warble cuts through the morning mist. You dress in coarse trousers and a shirt patched from wear, and eat a quick meal of damper flour and water, bread baked in artisan weak tea. If a convict, you're assigned to a settler's farm or a government project. If free, you serve a landowner or merchant. Your tasks vary: clearing scrub with an axe, its handle slick with sweat, or tending sheep, their wool vital to the colony's economy. In Sydney, you might clean a merchant's house, hauling water from a creek to scrub floors. The colony is a world of stark contrasts. The governor's residence gleams with imported glass, while your hut leaks in the rain. As a convict, you're under the overseer's lash, your work tracked by a pass system. As a free servant, you're bound by contract, breaking it, risking jail. Your wage, if free, is megaper, haps £10 a year or none, just food and shelter. The master's family, dining on mutton and wine, rarely notice you, their comfort built on your sweat. Community is your anchor. You share stories with fellow laborers, tales of London's streets or Dublin's hills over a pipe of tobacco. Sundays offer rest, perhaps a hymn sung under a gum tree, though overseers watch closely. Danger is ever present. A false accusation of laziness could mean flogging for convicts or dismissal for free servants. As you chop wood under the blazing sun, you hear of a laborer who fled into the bush, chasing freedom. Could such a daring act light your path, or would it lead only to capture? The midday sun scorches the Australian colony, and you, an indentured servant in 1820 Sydney, pause briefly to wipe sweat from your brow. The eucalyptus-scented air hums with flies as you labor on a settler's farm or a dusty government road. Your life is a relentless cycle of tasks, each swing of your axe or sweep of your broom shaping the raw edges of this new land. In this frontier world of promise and punishment, your story is one of endurance. Your toil, the unseen foundation of a growing colony. Your work depends on your master's needs. As a convict, you might be building a stone wall for a landowner's estate, your hands blistered from hauling rocks. If free but indentured, you could be a housemaid, polishing cedar furniture in a merchant's home, or a shepherd, guarding flocks from dingoes in the vast bush. The colony's economy hinges on wool and grain, and your labor, whether planting wheat or shearing sheep, drives it. Days stretch long, from dawn to dusk, with no rest save a brief meal of damper and salt beef, eaten under a tree's sparse shade. The colony's hierarchy is unforgiving. Convicts face the overseer's whip, their every move tracked. A missed quota could mean 50 lashes or a spell in the stocks. Free servants, bound by contract, risk breach of service charges, leading to fines or jail. Your rations, flour, tea, and occasional mutton are barely enough, and hunger gnaws in lean seasons. Your hut, shared with others, is a rough shelter, its canvas roof flapping in the wind. The master's family, with their imported linens, lives a world apart. Their comfort, your daily task. Community is your refuge. At night, you gather with fellow laborers, sharing a song from your homeland, or a tale of the bushranger, runaway turned outlaw. Sundays might bring a clandestine meeting where you whisper of resistance or pray for strength. But danger looms. Stealing a loaf could mean a flogging, speaking out a longer sentence. You've heard of runaways vanishing into the bush, some joining Aboriginal groups, others caught and chained. Their fates weigh heavy as you mend a fence under the overseer's gaze. Hope persists in small dreams. A convict might earn a ticket of live, granting partial freedom. A free servant could finish their term, saving for a plot of land. As you carry water to the master's kitchen, you overhear talk of a petition in Sydney laborers demanding fairer treatment. The idea stirs you, but rebellion risks ruin in a colony ruled by martial law. Could such whispers grow into change, or will the overseer's shadow snuff them out? Night falls over the Sydney colony, and you, an indentured servant, sit by a flickering fire outside your hut, its glow dancing on the gum trees. It is 1820, and the day's labor-clearing scrub or scrubbing floors has left your body aching but unbroken. Your life, whether as a convict or a contracted worker, is a testament to survival in a land both harsh and hopeful. As you sip weak tea from a tin mug, you reflect on the quiet climax of your toilless story, not of rebellion, but of resilience that plants the seeds of a new society. Your triumph lies in endurance. Each day, you've dodged the overseer's wrath, met grueling quotas, and carved a life from the wilderness. As a convict, you've hauled timber for roads that now link settlements. As a free servant, you've tended sheep that clothe the empire. Some achieve Mara, ticket of leave for convicts, granting freedom to work for wages, or a completed contract for free servants, offering a chance at land or trade. Most, like you, remain bound, your future tied to the colony's growth. Your body worn by years of labor. Community is your strength. You've shared damper with a fellow worker, their stories of Cork or London weaving a thread of home in secret. You've sung hymns or swapped tales of bushrangers, acts of defiance against a system that owns your time. Your labor-built barns harvesting wheat has turned Sydney from a penal outpost into a thriving colony. Yet your reward is survival. Your name absent from the ledgers that track wool exports or land grants. Your legacy is profound, though unwritten. The fields you cleared, the homes you cleaned, laid the foundation for Australia's future, its towns and farms rising from your sweat. Today, your echo lives in those who toil, unseen laborers, migrants, the hands shaping new worlds. Your resilience, your ability to find purpose in hardship, speaks to the human spirit's quiet strength. As you bank the fire, the stars above the bush burn bright, and you wonder, will this land remember the hands that tamed it, or will your story fade into the rustle of the eucalyptus? Palace attendants, service in the Byzantine Empire, step into the marbled halls of the Great Palace in Constantinople, dear listener, around 950 CE. During the reign of Emperor Constantine VII, the Byzantine Empire shines as a beacon of faith and power, its capital a crossroads of east and west. You are a palace attendant, perhaps a cubicularius or a maid, serving the imperial court. Your life is one of quiet diligence, your hands polishing the mosaics that dazzle visitors. In this world of gold and intrigue, your story unseen amid the emperor's splendors the pulse that keeps the palace alive as an attendant. You might be a freeborn Greek or a slave from Slavic lands, your role secured by skill or circumstance. Eunuchs, valued for loyalty, often hold high posts, but you, likely a lower servant, perform humbler tasks. You live in a dormitory within the palace's labyrinth, a small cell with a straw pallet, a clay lamp, and a woven blanket. Your attire is modista, linen tunic for men, a long dress for women marked by a badge of service. Your wage, if free, is meager, often paid in bread and wine. Your day begins at dawn, as church bells echo across the Bosphorus. You break your fast with barley bread and olives, eaten in a crowded servants' hall. As a cubicularius, you might clean the emperor's chambers, dusting ivory icons or arranging silk cushions. As a maid, you serve the empress, fetching rosewater for her bath or mending her embroidered veil. The palace is vast, its halls lined with porphyry columns, and your tasks sweeping floors, lighting braziers, ensure its grandeur. Precision is vital. A smudged goblet could earn a reprimand from the chamberlain. The court is a web of ceremony. You move through back corridors, avoiding the emperor's gaze, your steps soft on mosaic tiles. The chamberlain, a stern eunuch, oversees your work, his authority absolute. Skilled attendant scribes or musicians hold prestige, but most, like you, toil in obscurity, carrying trays or polishing silver. The emperor's court, with its silk-clad nobles and whispered plots, depends on your labor. Yet you remain invisible. Your voice, silenced by protocol. Community offers solace. You share wine with a fellow servant, trading tales of distant villages or the emperor's latest edict. Festivals like Easter bring roasted lamb and hymns, a rare joy. But danger lurks. A misplaced item could mean dismissal, or worse, a flogging. As you clean a golden chalice, you hear of an attendant exiled for eavesdropping on a courtier. Could such a misstep unravel your fragile existence, or might diligence win favor in this gilded world? The midday sun bathes Constantinople's great palace in golden light, and you, a palace attendant in 950 CE, move swiftly through its colonnaded halls. The Byzantine court hums with ceremonies, from imperial banquets to religious rites, and your labor, whether as a cubicularius or maid, ensures their seamless execution. Your life is a delicate balance of obedience and vigilance, your hands sustaining the empire's grandeur while navigating its intrigues. In this world of icons and ambition, your story is one of quiet resilience. Your toil, the unseen scaffolding of imperial majesty. Your tasks are as varied as the palace's needs. As a cubicularius, you might carry scrolls to the chrysotriclinos, the golden reception hall, or polish the emperor's throne, its jewels gleaming under your cloth. As a maid, you attend the empress, arranging her purple robes or grinding coal for her eyes. You work under the chamberlain's watchful gaze, a eunuch whose nod can secure favor or a whip's sting. Every task demands precision. Spilled wine or a torn curtain could lead to demotion to menial chores, like scrubbing the latrine's marble floors. The palace's hierarchy is rigid. Eunuchs, trusted for their loyalty, dominate high roles, while you, a lower servant, answer to them and the steward. Your rations bread, fish, and watered wine are sufficient, but hunger lingers in lean years. Your dormitory, shared with others, is a cramped refuge, its walls echoing with the Bosphorus's lapping waves. The emperor and his court, resplendent in silk, are a world apart, their debates over theology or war fueled by your labor. Yet your name never graces their lips. Community is your strength. Over a shared loaf, you trade whispers with a fellow attendant about a courtier's scandal or a distant war. Festivals like the Nativity bring music and honeyed figs, a fleeting escape from duty. But danger is constanta. False accusation of theft could mean exile to a frontier post. You've heard of a maid punished for overhearing a plot against the emperor. Her fate, a warning to all. Loyalty is your shield, but even that can falter in a court rife with betrayal. Hope flickers in small dreams. A skilled attendant might rise to scribe or treasurer, earning freedom or a pension. For most, like you, service is lifelong, your future tied to the palace's rhythm. As you light incense for a Vespers ceremony, you overhear talk of unrest servants in a provincial palace, refused orders, demanding better rations. Could such defiance reach Constantinople's sacred halls, or will the empire's iron order crush it? Night falls over the great palace, its mosaics glinting faintly under torchlight, and you, a Byzantine attendant in 950 CE, complete your final tasks. The air carries the scent of myrrh from a distant chapel, and the court is silent, save for the soft tread of guards. Your life, whether as a cubicularius or maid, is one of quiet endurance, your labor upholding the emperor's divine aura. As you fold a silk tapestry or lock a storeroom, you reflect on the culmination of your toilless story, not of rebellion, but of resilience, in a world where your service is both vital and invisible. Your triumph lies in survival. Each day, you've navigated the palace's intricate protocols, dodging the chamberlain's scrutiny and anticipating the court's needs. As a cubicularius, you've ensured the emperor's goblet gleams. As a maid, you've arranged the empress's veil without flaw. Some attendants rise eunuchs, two powerful posts, maids two trusted roles, but most, like you, remain in the shadows, your future bound to the palace. Freedom is rare, granted by imperial favor or saved wages. But for many, service is lifelong, ending only in age or illness. Community is your anchor. You've shared wine-soaked bread with a fellow servant, whispering of a distant homeland or a courtier's folly. In secret, you've joined hymns at Hagia Sophia's steps, your voice blending with others in defiance of your lowly status. Your labor polishing thrones, serving feast. Without you, Constantinople's golden aura would dim, its counsels falter. Yet, your reward is mere survival. Your name absent from the chronicles that praise emperors. Your legacy, though unwritten, is enduring. The mosaics you cleaned, the banquets you served, sustained a civilization that bridged Rome and the modern world. Today, your echo lives in those who labor unseen, custodians, aides, the hands behind society's shine. Your resilience, your ability to find purpose in duty, speaks to the human spirit's quiet strength. As you extinguish your lamp, settling onto your pallet, you wonder, will the palace's stones whisper of the hands that kept them aglow, or will your story fade into Constantinople's eternal night? Domestic help in the Gilded Age, American servants of the late 19th century. Picture yourself, dear listener, in the bustling heart of a New York City mansion in 1885, during the Gilded Age, when America's new industrial wealth sparkles in marble and gold. You are a domestic servant, perhaps a parlor maid or footman, serving a family enriched by railroads or steel. Your life is one of relentless tasks, your hands keeping the mansion's grandeur polished and perfect. In this era of excess and inequality, your story hidden behind velvet curtains is the quiet force that sustains the elite's glittering world as a servant. You are likely a young immigrant, perhaps Irish or German, drawn to America by dreams of opportunity, or a native-born worker escaping rural poverty. You live in the mansion's attic, a cramped room with a narrow cot, a wash basin, and a peg for your uniform, a black dress and apron for maids, a tailed coat for footmen. It's your wage, around $15 a month for maids, or $20 for footmen, is sent to family or saved for a distant future. The mansion, with its gaslit chandeliers and mahogany paneling, is a stark contrast to your sparse quarters. Your day begins at 6. As the city stirs with the clatter of streetcars, you dress quickly, ensuring your uniform is spotless, and eat a hasty breakfast of oatmeal and tea in the servants' hall. As a parlor maid, you dust the drawing room, polishing rosewood furniture and cleaning crystal vases. As a footman, you carry coal to fireplaces, your arms aching, or stand at the door, announcing callers with a bow. The mistress's bell rings constantly, summoning you to adjust curtains or serve tea, your steps silent on plush carpets. The household is a world of rigid hierarchy. The housekeeper, a stern figure with a keyring, oversees maids, while the butler commands footmen. You answer to both. Your work, scrutinized for flaws, a smudged mirror, could mean a scolding. The family, dining on oysters and champagne, barely notices you. Their wealth built on industries your labor indirectly fuels. Your role is to be invisible, yet essential, ensuring their comfort without a word out of place. Community offers solace. In the servants' hall, you share a laugh with a cook over a guest's gaudy hat, or trade stories of Dublin or Ohio. Sundays might bring a half-day off for church or a stroll in Central Park. Though you're back by dusk, danger looms. A broken plate could cost your job, leaving you stranded in the city. As you polish silver, you hear of a maid dismissed for gossiping about the master's affairs. Could such a misstep shatter your fragile stability, or will diligence keep you safe? The afternoon sun streams through the stained glass windows of the New York mansion, and you, a Gilded Age servant in 1885, move swiftly to prepare for the mistress's afternoon tea. The air carries the faint scent of beeswax polish and coal smoke, a reminder of your ceaseless tasks. As a parlor maid or footman, your labor ensures the family's opulence shines, from the gleaming silver to the perfectly set table. Your life is a delicate balance of diligence and deference. Your story, one of quiet endurance in a world of wealth and expectation. Your tasks are endless and precise. As a parlor maid, you arrange flowers in Sèvres vases, their petals perfect, or sweep the Persian rugs with a whisk broom, careful not to disturb the pattern. As a footman, you serve tea, pouring from a silver pot with steady hands, or carry messages to the master's study, dodging the bustle of Fifth Avenue. You memorize the family's preferences, the mistress's tea with 2 sugars, the master's dislike for wilted roses. A single error, like a chipped cup, could draw the housekeeper's ire or cost you a day's wage. The mansion's hierarchy is as rigid as its starched linens. The butler and housekeeper rule the staff, their word, law. You, a lower servant, bow to their authority. Your work, inspected daily. Rations, bread, stew, and occasional pie are eaten in the basement, while the family feasts on roast pheasant upstairs. Your attic room, shared with another servant, is cold, its single window fogged with city grime. Sundays offer a brief escape, perhaps, to a tenement to visit kin, but the bell's ring pulls you back. Community is your refuge. You share a whispered jest with a scullery maid about the butler's pompous strut, or swap tales of Galway or Pennsylvania over a shared apple. Festivals like Christmas bring a rare gift, a cast-off shawl or extra pudding, but even these are watched by the housekeeper. Danger is constant. A stolen biscuit could mean dismissal. An overheard secret could brand you untrustworthy. You've heard of a footman fired for breaking a decanter, now begging in the Bowery. Hope flickers in small ambitions. Saving your wages, you dream of a shop or marriage, though most servants remain in service, their youth spent on others' comfort. As you light the dining room's gas lamps, you overhear talk of a servants' union forming in Chicago, whispering of better hours. The idea sparks hope, but in a city ruled by wealth, could such a movement take root, or will the mansion's demands silence it? Night settles over the New York mansion, and you, a Gilded Age servant in 1885, extinguish the last gas lamp in the dining room, its glow fading on the polished mahogany. The family has retired, their laughter echoing faintly from upstairs, and your day of dusting, serving, and bowing draws to a close. Your life as a parlor maid or footman is one of quiet resilience, your labor the unseen engine of the family's splendor. As you climb the creaking attic stairs, you reflect on the culmination of your toilless story of endurance in a world that thrives on your invisibility. Your triumph lies in perseverance. Each day, you've dodged the housekeeper's scrutiny, served tea without a spill, and kept the mansion's elegance intact. As a maid, you've polished mirrors to a flawless shine. As a footman, you've carried trays with unwavering grace. Some servants rise perhaps to housekeeper or butler, but most, like you, remain in the ranks, your future tied to the mansion's rhythm. A kind mistress might offer a reference, opening doors to better posts, but dismissal looms for a single mistake, casting you into the city's uncertainty. Community is your strength. You've shared a quiet song with a cook, its melody recalling a distant home, or mended a fellow servant's apron by candlelight. These bonds, forged in the servants' hall, are your rebellion against a system that demands your silence. Your labor cleaning chandeliers, setting tables, enabled the family to host magnates and socialites, their deals shaping America's industrial might, yet your reward is survival. Your name absent from the society pages that chronicle their lives. Your legacy, though unwritten, is vital. The Gilded Age's opulence, its wealth rested on servants like you, whose work freed the elite to build empires. Today, your echo lives in those who labor, uncinginators, servers, the hands behind modern comfort. Your resilience, your ability to find dignity in duty, speaks to the human spirit's quiet strength. As you settle onto your cot, the city's hum fading, you wonder, will the mansions of the Gilded Age whisper of the hands that kept them aglow, or will your story vanish with the morning's light? The humble retinue, attendants in feudal Japan. Imagine yourself, dear listener, in a castle town of feudal Japan, around 1600 CE, during the early Edo period, under the Tokugawa shogunate. The air carries the scent of cherry blossoms and cedar, and the castle's wooden walls loom over the bustling streets. You are an attendant, perhaps a kosho page or a koshimoto maid, serving a daimyo's household. Your life is one of disciplined service, your hands ensuring the samurai lord's domain runs smoothly. In this world of honor and ritual, your Story quiet and uncelebratizes the foundation of the castle's order. As an attendant, you are likely from a lower samurai or peasant family, bound to service by duty or necessity. Kosho are often young men, training for future roles, while Koshimoto are women, serving the daimyo's wife or daughters. You live in the castle's inner quarters, a small tatami-mat room with a futon, a low table, and a lacquered box for your kimono, simple cotton, dyed indigo, marking your status. Your stipend, perhaps a few koku of rice yearly, supports you or your family. But luxury is for the lords. Your day begins at dawn as temple bells ring across the town. You dress carefully, tying your obi belt, and eat a quick meal of rice, miso soup, and pickled radish in the servants' quarters. As a kosho, you might polish the daimyo's katana, its blade gleaming, or carry messages to his retainers. As a koshimoto, you serve the lady, arranging her silk kimono or brewing sencha tea with precise movements. You sweep tatami mats with a bamboo broom or tend the garden's koi pond, each task a reflection of the household's harmony. The castle is a world of rigid protocol. You move through side corridors, bowing deeply to avoid offending samurai. The steward, a senior retainer, oversees your work, his gaze sharp for any lapse. Precision is paramount. Misfolded kimono or late tea could shame the household. Daimyo's family, with their elegant robes and measured speech, depends on your labor, yet you remain unseen, your voice silenced by decorum. Community offers solace. You share sake with a fellow attendant, whispering of a samurai's duel or a festival's lanterns. Annual events like Oban bring dances and rice cakes, a rare joy. But danger lurks. A misplaced item could mean a reprimand or banishment to a village. As you fold linens in the quiet evening, you hear of a servant punished for spying for a rival lord. Could such intrigue touch your ordered world, or will loyalty shield you? The midday sun filters through shoshi screens in the daimyo's castle, and you, an attendant in 1600 CE Japan, move with quiet precision through your tasks. The Edo period's strict order shapes the castle town, and your role as a kosho or koshimoto ensures the household's seamless function. Your life is a delicate dance of duty and deference, your hands maintaining the elegance of samurai life. In this world of bushido and ritual, your story is one of silent resilience. Your labor, the unseen thread weaving the daimyo's domain. Your tasks reflect the household's needs. As a kosho, you might arrange the daimyo's armor, ensuring each lacquered plate shines, or deliver sealed scrolls to his council, your steps silent on polished wood. As a koshimoto, you serve the lady, combing her hair with an ivory comb or preparing ink for her calligraphy. You clean the tea room, wiping tatami mats with a damp cloth, or tend the charcoal brazier, its warmth vital for winter ceremonies. Every act demands perfection. A smudged scroll or cold tea could dishonor the house, drawing the steward's wrath. The castle's hierarchy is unyielding. The steward, a samurai with a stern nod, oversees attendants, while senior retainers command respect. You, a lower servant, bow low, your place clear. Rations rice, fish, and pickled plums are modest, eaten in the servants' quarters, while the daimyo's family dines on sashimi and mochi. Your room, shared with another, is sparse, its paper walls offering little warmth. Festivals, like the cherry blossom viewing, bring brief respite, with shared sake and lantern-lit walks, but duty always calls. Community is your refuge. Over a bowl of soba, you trade whispers with a fellow attendant about a lord's temper or a coming festival. These moments, stolen between tasks, preserve your spirit in a system demanding obedience. Danger is ever present. A misplaced fan could mean a beating. Overhearing a samurai's plot could lead to exile. You've heard of a kosho banished for touching a sacred sword. His fate, a warning to all. Hope persists in small dreams. A kosho might rise to samurai status through loyalty. A koshimoto could marry a retainer or return to her village with savings. As you arrange flowers for the tea ceremony, you overhear talk of unre servants in a distant castle, refused tasks, demanding better rations. The whisper stirs you, but in a land ruled by samurai, could such defiance take root, or will the castle's order silence it? Night falls over the daimyo's castle, its wooden beams creaking softly, and you, an attendant in 1600 CE Japan, complete your final tasks. The air carries the faint scent of cedar and ink, a reminder of the day's labor. Your life as a koshimoto is one of quiet endurance, your hands ensuring the household's harmony while your presence fades into the shadows. As you fold a silk kimono or extinguish a lantern, you reflect on the culmination of your toilous story, not of rebellion, but of resilience in a world bound by honor. Your triumph lies in flawless service. Each day, you've navigated the castles, strict protocols, polishing armor to a mirror sheen, or serving tea with unwavering grace. As a kosho, you've carried the daimyo's orders without error. As a koshimoto, you've dressed the lady's hair perfectly. Some attendants rise kosho to samurai koshimoto to trusted maids, but most, like you, serve lifelong, your future tied to the castle. Freedom, through savings or favor, is a distant hope, your body worn by years of bowing and sweeping. Community is your strength. You've shared rice wine with a fellow servant, whispering of a festival's joy or a samurai's kindness. In secret, you've joined a moon viewing gathering, your voice soft in a haiku. These acts, hidden from the steward's gaze, are your defiance against a system demanding your silence. Your labor cleaning tatami, preparing banquets, holds the daimyo's power, enabling his rule and the shogunate's stability. Yet, your reward is survival. Your name absent from the scrolls that chronicle samurai deeds. Your legacy, though unwritten, is vital. The castle's elegance, the rituals you enabled, sustained Japan's feudal order, its harmony, a model for centuries. Today, your echo lives in those who serve quietly, caregivers, artisans, the hands behind society's order. Your resilience, your ability to find dignity in duty, speaks to the human spirit's quiet strength. As you settle onto your futon, the castle silent, you wonder, will the tatami mats whisper of the hands that kept them pristine, or will your story fade with the lantern's last glow? Below stairs in Edwardian England, the last gasp of traditional service, step into the polished grandeur of an Edwardian country house in England. Dear listener, in 1910, during the reign of King Edward VII, the air carries the scent of beeswax and lavender, and the estate hums with the elegance of a fading era. You are a servant, perhaps a housemaid or footman working below stairs to maintain the opulence of a wealthy family. Your life is one of relentless tasks, your hands ensuring the manor's splendor. In this twilight of traditional service, your story, though rarely told, is the heartbeat of the household's grandeur as a servant. You are likely young, perhaps from a rural village or a London slum, drawn to service by necessity or the promise of steady wages. You live in the servants' quarters, a cramped attic or basement room with a narrow bed, a washstand, and a peg for your uniform black dress and white apron for maids, liveried coat for footmen. Your wage, around £20 a year for a housemaid, or £30 for a footman, is modest but vital, often sent to support family. The house, with its oak-paneled halls and crystal chandeliers, contrasts sharply with your sparse lodgings. Your day begins at 6, as the house stirs with the clink of coal buckets. You dress quickly, ensuring your uniform is spotless, and eat a hasty breakfast of porridge and tea in the servants' hall. As a housemaid, you light fires in the drawing room, dust mahogany furniture, or polish brass doorknobs. As a footman, you carry breakfast trays to the dining room, standing ready to serve coffee or clear plates. The mistress's bell rings often, summoning you to adjust curtains or fetch shawls, your steps muffled on thick carpets. The household is a rigid hierarchy. The butler and housekeeper rule below stairs, their word law, while the family dining on pheasant and claret barely acknowledges you. Your role is to be invisible, your work seamless. Precision is critical. A smudged glass could earn a reprimand. The family's social whirlballs, hunts, teas, depends on your labor. Yet you remain in the shadows, using back stairs to avoid their gaze. Community offers solace. You share a laugh with a kitchen maid over the butler's stiff manners, or swap tales of village life with a footman. Sundays might bring a half day off for church or a walk in the village, but duty calls by dusk. Danger lurks. A broken vase could mean dismissal, leaving you jobless in a changing world. As you polish silver, you hear of a maid fired for gossiping about the master's debts. Could such a slip threaten your place, or will diligence keep you secure? The afternoon light filters through the stained glass windows of the Edwardian country house, and you, a servant in 1910 England, move swiftly to prepare for the family's afternoon tea. The air hums with the scent of polish and the clatter of china from the kitchen. As a housemaid or footman, your labor ensures the estate's elegance, from gleaming banisters to perfectly set tables. Your life is a delicate balance of duty and discretion. Your story, one of quiet endurance in a world where traditional service teeters on the brink of change. Your tasks are precise and unending. As a housemaid, you dust the library's leather-bound books, sweep marble floors, or make beds with crisp linens, ensuring no crease betrays your work. As a footman, you serve tea, pouring from a silver pot with steady hands, or carry coal to the drawing room's fireplace, your livery immaculate despite the soot. You memorize the family's habits, the mistress's preference for jasmine tea, the master's dislike for smudged cutlery. A single mistake, like a chipped saucer, could draw the housekeeper's sharp rebuke or dock your wages. The household's hierarchy is unyielding. The butler and housekeeper govern below stairs, their inspections relentless. You, a lower servant, defer to their authority, your work scrutinized daily. Rations, bread, stew, and occasional pudding are eaten in the basement, while the family dines on lobster and trifle upstairs. Your attic room, shared with another, is cold, its window rattling in the wind. Sundays offer a brief respite, perhaps, for a hymn at church or a letter to family, but the bell's ring pulls you back. Community is your refuge. Over a shared biscuit, you trade gossip with a scullery maid about a guest's gaudy dress, or laugh with a footman about the cook's temper. Festivals like Christmas bring a rare treat, a cast-off scarf or extra mince pie, but even these are watched by the butler. Danger is constant. A stolen spoonful of jam could mean dismissal. Overhearing the master's financial woes could brand you untrustworthy. You've heard of a footman sacked for breaking a wine glass, now struggling in London's slums. Hope persists. In small dreams, saving your wages, you imagine a shop or a family of your own. Though most servants remain in service, their youth spent on others' comfort. As you arrange flowers for the tea table, you overhear talk of a servants' union in London, whispering of shorter hours. In a society clinging to old ways, could such a movement take root, or will the great house's demands silence it? Night envelops the Edwardian country house, and you, a servant in 1910, lock the pantry after a long day, the faint glow of a single candle guiding your steps. The family has retired, their voices hushed behind oak doors, and your labor dusting, serving, polishing has ensured their evening's elegance. Your life as a housemaid or footman is one of quiet resilience, your work the unseen engine of the manor's splendor. As you climb the attic stairs, you reflect on the culmination of your toilous story of endurance in a world where traditional service faces its final days. Your triumph lies in flawless execution. Each day, you've dodged the butler's scrutiny, served tea without a spill, and kept the house gleaming. As a housemaid, you've polished mirrors to perfection. As a footman, you've stood sentinel at dinners, your livery pristine. Some servants rise to housekeeper or butler, but most, like you, remain below stairs, your future tied to the household. A kind mistress might offer a reference, opening new doors, but a single error could mean dismissal, casting you into an uncertain world of factories or city slums. Community is your strength. You've shared a quiet laugh with a kitchen maid over a guest's pompous speech, or helped a footman mend a torn cuff by lamplight. These bonds, forged in stolen moments, are your rebellion against a system demanding your invisibility. Your labor setting tables, lighting fires enabled the family to host lords and ladies, their social whirl shaping England's elite. Yet, your reward is survival, your name absent from the guest books that chronicled their lives. Your legacy, though unwritten, is vital. The great houses of Edwardian England, with their balls and banquets, rested on servants like you, whose work freed the wealthy to govern and socialize. Today, your echo lives in those who labor unseen: cleaners, servers, the hands behind modern comfort. Your resilience, your ability to find dignity in duty, speaks to the human spirit's quiet strength. As you settle onto your cot, the house silent, you wonder, will the grand halls remember the hands that kept them aglow, or will your story fade with the dawn of a new era?